Hi everyone. So we're on day 4 of Manifest with Marlene. So what I want to do is kind of just lead on from the previous days so that you have something to build on. So one of the things that's very important to start to pay attention to when you're diving deeper into what you want to manifest, and also just looking at what you're manifesting in your world. So even if it's not that you want a specific thing, there may be people or situations that are showing up for you that you're like, why is this coming up again? Why am I seeing so much of this in my life, even though I don't want it, right? So there is a law, just like the law of gravity, that is the law of assumption, which means that whatever you assume to be true, whatever you believe to be true, um, becomes true for you. It has to show up. It's a universal law. So when you think about what you assume to be true, and you take it to be, you take it about yourself, you take it about money, you take it about the weather, how people are, governments, and you start to go deeper into what are my assumptions about these things? What are my assumptions about money? How is money showing up for me? You start to look at, okay, money comes easily. Money comes to me very easily. If I need money, I always have it. Is that an assumption that you have? And then you see that money always turns up for you. Look at where you assume things to be true and it always works out for you. So, like, you could have this belief that, oh, I always get parking spots. No matter where I go, I always get parking spots. And you do. Or, like, somebody I know, they're always lucky. They always, like, they apply for radio prizes, they always win them. And they have this assumption now that if they go in, they're going to win. Um, on the flip side of that, you have people who will say, I'm never lucky in love. It always goes wrong for me. I always pick the wrong guys. Or you'll hear people say these things like, you could put me in a room with 20, say if you're interested in men, with 20 men, and I'll pick the wrong one. People will say these things all the time without really bringing much awareness or thought to the fact that what you assume to be true has to become true and solidify into fact for you. So it's building from what I said yesterday about how you see people and your expectations of them. Going deeper than that is your assumptions of them. So if you're coming to someone and they're late, say if you're meeting a friend and they're late, and you go into this narrative in your head of, oh yeah, sure, they're always late. Yeah, they're going to be at least 20 minutes late. That's always what happens with them. And then the person gets delayed in some way, and they fulfill your assumption. But you could be talking to somebody else and they could say, I never have that issue with that person. They're always on time. If anything, they're early. And honestly, when you start to look at it, when you start to watch where your assumptions are kind of keeping you limited, you'll start to do away with them really quickly. And since starting this a few days ago, people have been reaching out saying, how do I work with my thoughts? I find it very difficult with my thoughts. I find it very difficult to kind of snap out of the negative thinking or whatever. So again, going into what you're assuming to be true for yourself, if you really, really go into it, saying that you can't manage your thoughts is another assumption. It goes very deep. It honestly goes very deep. And when you start to look at your assumptions, people who say things like, oh, I can't even look at a cake and I get fat. Or, you know, people just have these beliefs, these assumptions about themselves. They can't do maths. They can't learn. They're always slow at learning something new. Oh, I'm a tech phobe. You know what I mean? These kind of things that we say that have to solidify into fact for us then. And for anyone that has actually experienced consciousness, for those masters among us that are awake and have experienced what it's like to be the universe, to actually not have the physical sort of avatar in the way, they will always say that life happens frame by frame by frame by frame by frame, and each frame has nothing to do with the frame that's gone before. It's just our human mind creates continuity in order to feel safe and to order to feel like we're moving through time, but there is no time. I remember Byron Katie is a woman who's experienced this, and she said she experiences life as this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this, and each this is its own universe, you know? So in each moment, we are completely brand new. We are completely brand new, and it's just our assumptions, our habits of thinking that will remember the pain in our body, remember what age we are, and we're constantly putting ourselves back into the box, back into the box, back into the box. But at any time you can decide to do it completely differently. Now, it might take repetition for that to kind of click in for you, but if you assume something completely different for yourself, in this moment, if you assume, I am someone that it always works out for, no matter how it appears on the outside, everything is working out exactly right for me. I'm always in the right place at the right time, talking to the right people. I can't do it wrong. Imagine if you had an assumption like that. I can't do it wrong. It always works out for me. You can have whatever you want. Do you understand what I'm saying? Whatever you assume to be true for you, whatever you're repeating with a strong belief, you can have it. You can have it, and look at your life for evidence of that fact. Look at where things are playing out that you don't want. Everybody leans on me. Everybody, everybody wants me to fix things for them. No one does anything for me. What if you started to switch that around, and in this moment imagined you were just plopped into this body and they said to you, whatever you think about now, you can have? You would be like, oh my God, I'm the most loved person on this planet. Everybody adores me. Everything just is like parting of the Red Sea if I'm going anywhere. People just, they fall over themselves to help me out. You know what I mean? You can reprogram your brain to accept that as truth for you, to accept that as your assumption that it all just works out for me. I literally can't do it wrong. Everybody loves me, and I love everyone. I forgive everyone, everyone forgives me. Money comes to me effortlessly. I don't even have to think about it. Whatever I want just shows up for me anyway. And if you can get into a believing place with that, if you can get into trusting that completely, that what you assume comes to you, and not waver on it. So then you say, everything always works out for me, right? And then say a co-worker takes credit for your work. Now, if you're in that state of everything always works out for me, that's your assumption, then you have to see this as part of that. So then you don't go into the drama of, he took my work, blah, 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 and you go off into the mind, how dare he, this is going to mess up everything for me now, and you go off out of your alignment then. You go off into the mind. But if you're practicing it and you stay in the assumption that everything works out for me, so that guy taking your work is like, this is working out for me. This will play out perfectly for me. I trust it completely. That's not to say you can't stand up for yourself and say, that was my work, that was a shitty thing to do. But you're just not emotionally charged about it. You're not invested in what happens with him after that, or her. You're just, okay, this is, everything works out for me, so let's see how this goes. Your partner leaves you and you go into, if you're not in the assumption that everything works out for me, you go into that assumption then of, oh, here we go. Yeah, sure, I knew he was going to leave me anyway. And you're adding fuel to this. You're creating it. If you stay in the assumption of, you know what, everything works out for me. I hope he's happy and I hope he finds what he's looking for. And you stay in that place of just honoring your own emotions, whatever comes up for you. But the underlying feeling is, this is good for me. I might not understand it, but it's good for me. Then you might find that partner comes back and says, I'm really sorry, I don't know what I was thinking about. Um, you know, or that partner could go away and find someone else, and you could find yourself doing something that you really want to do that you couldn't do because of the partner. Or you find yourself going somewhere else and meeting someone amazing, which would never have happened if you had stayed with this partner. But if you go into the mind, how dare they? Oh, I'm devastated. Oh my God, I'll never get over it. Then you're just perpetuating the loop, and you're just going to see more and more of the same. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. It takes practice, it takes focus, and it takes awareness, almost constant awareness for a while, of where you may be negating the positive assumption. You say I'm fabulously healthy. I'm vibrantly healthy. All my cells are fantastically alive. And then a couple of hours later, you get a headache. What do you do then in that situation? Do you go into the headache and kind of make a big story around it? Or do you say, okay, my body is perfectly healthy. It's working through something right now. What do I do to make myself feel more comfortable? There's no fear. There's no, oh my God, this is awful, blah, blah. There's no fear. It's just you trust your body. You have the assumption that you're perfectly healthy, and this is all part of health for you. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a subtle shift, but a very powerful one. So see how you go with that. And be patient with yourself when you're doing stuff like this. Be patient when the monkey mind comes in to try and distract you. And be excited about it. You're changing your own paradigm. You're changing how you live in your life, so which is a great thing. Okay, bye.